So we had a kind of a Shamazz of all kinds of ideas that happened back and forth. And about 6 months of this sort of traveling back and forth with emails and talks on the telephone on a very regular basis, we decided we needed to have a planning session. And so I came back to Phoenix, and we squirreled ourselves up in the Marriott Suites, the brand new one that was being built there, I think in Scottsdale. And we were there for about a week, Fred and I and Richard. And after the week, we had lots of great ideas like a brainstorming session does, but we couldn't get it to come together. And Richard kept talking about this ICA and this ICA process, and he tried to put the little packages together, or the little stick-ons together, much like ICA uses in their programs, and he had them all over the wall. But Richard really didn't have a clue of how to do a facilitation. I mean, he had seen a lot of them, and he did the best he could. And finally, in frustration, I said to him, this is nice and this is dandy and this can all be really something we can still talk about, but I got to go home. I've got work to do, and I'd spent a week. And so I decided I was going to take off, and I was leaving the next day, and I'd made arrangements to do that. And I was frustrated because I kind of felt like we had it, but we didn't have it. You just couldn't put your finger on it. And he said, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. You guys go and have lunch. So he sent Fred and I off. And he said, you guys be back here at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, whatever it was that we had. And he had made arrangements with John Oyler to come over. And John was in the middle of a session. He was doing another session over at the ICA offices there. And he had a break in this session that he sort of created for about a 2-hour lapse that we could have. And so in came John, looked at the wall, and started. I mean, he just asked questions and started doing it. And within 2 hours, he left. And we had it grouped on the wall, we had it named, we had it, I mean, it was just so well done in a 2-hour session. And I was just so flabbergasted that we had gone for such confusion to such organization. And it just took my breath away, really. And I have seen that process so many times now, and I'm still awed by it. I mean, it still has that same effect on me when I see it done. So that was my first experience with ICA.